Charles Oliveira has set his sights on a rematch with Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title at UFC 317 during International Fight Week. The two previously fought in October 2022, where Islam secured a victory via arm triangle choke in the second round to claim Oliveira's belt. Charles posted this video to his social medias directly addressing Dana White, Hunter Campbell, and Sean Shelby.
O UFC, o MMA, tem muito cara que tá falando demais. De história no UFC, eu posso falar, eu vou fazer 15 anos. Recordista de bônus, finalização, cara que quebra recorde, sou eu. Então olha só, eu quero lutar na Fight Week, Makhachev também, Dana, Sean Shelby, Hunter, vamos fazer isso acontecer. Eu quero muito essa luta, eu tô em busca desse cinturão, eu quero se tornar campeão mais uma vez, entendeu? Então eu vou escrever essa história mais uma vez. O UFC, vamos fazer isso acontecer, essa é a luta que todo mundo quer ver. Eu tô pronto, o Makhachev tá falando demais que quer essa luta, então com certeza vai ser uma grande guerra. Fight Week, essa é a luta que vocês querem, essa é a luta que vocês vão ter. Dana, UFC, Sean, Hunter, vamos fazer acontecer. Só me liga.
Colby Covington shares his thoughts on the next chapter of his MMA career. Coming off back-to-back losses, a unanimous decision loss to Leon Edwards in December 2023, and a TKO by doctor stoppage loss against Joaquin Buckley in December 2024, Colby now sits at number 9 in the welterweight rankings. Despite these setbacks, Colby says he wants to fight against the biggest names in legacy fights. Go check out Colby's full appearance on Tim Welch's YouTube channel. Links in the description.
I mean, anybody that has a big name, you know, big fights, whatever the biggest and best fights that I can get done for the UFC, that's what I want to do, you know. We got to see how things are going. You know, there's a couple people that have been running my name through their mouth, so, you know, they can get their mouth shut for sure. But, you know, I got to see what the UFC wants to do. And I want, you know, I want legacy fights, you know, big fights, former champions, you know, big high-level fights, not guys that are just coming up and just starting to build their name, because I've been here, I've done that. I'm a world champion. It doesn't matter what my ranking is. I'm the champion of the division. I'm the biggest draw and the biggest star in the division. So, you know, anytime I fight, it's a championship fight. So, you know, we just got to see how the landscape and things play out and how this title fight goes, and then, you know, we go from there.
Is there a date you're kind of looking for? Maybe fall?
Yeah, I think, you know, end of summer, early fall. I think that, you know, I want to get into a good training camp. I've been busy with the Ultimate Fighter. I've been traveling around. I'm going to New York today, obviously, as I said, with the Tate brothers. So, yeah, I think fall makes sense.
Sean Brady believes he beat Leon Edwards better than Belal Muhammad did. Both fighters employed a grappling-heavy strategy against Leon. However, while Belal secured a unanimous decision win, Brady submitted Edwards via guillotine choke in the 4th round. Speaking to media, Brady said that's how you beat Leon. The blueprint was kind of written in a lot of his fights, and I just did a lot better than I think anyone else has been able to do it. Even when he shot on me, Leon's a very technical fighter, but when you make it a real hard fight, he tends to break. I could see he was breaking, and I knew he broke once he shot on me, because that's the last place he would want to be, is on the ground with me. So once I knew he wanted to grapple with me, I knew it was going to be over soon. I think I did a lot better than Belal did. I think Belal lost a couple of rounds. He had his back taken for an entire round. I think it was 3-2 when they fought. I dominated Leon every round. No one's ever did it like me. And then I submitted him and made him quit in front of his hometown. If we were in Philly, you ain't making me quit in front of my hometown. I'll tell you that. I'm going to sleep, son. So just remember that. If you look at the people I've been beating versus Shavkat, I think I have a pretty good Gilbert Burns and Leon Edwards. My last 2 versus his last 2. Stephen Thompson and Ian Gary. I've got a nice little record going, but I just want to keep adding names to my resume, and we'll see what happens. Molly McCann has opened up on her decision to retire from MMA following her first-round submission loss to Alexia Tainar over the weekend. Molly has won 1 out of her last 5 fights and says that she just isn't good enough. Speaking to TNT Sports, Molly said, "When I broke my leg last year, it took me everything to get back, and it was really hard for my body to. I'm not a spring chicken. I gave my everything, and everything kept breaking in the camp. Things were going wrong. I just gave the best account of myself, and being in there, I felt fine. I was pumped. But to be outmaneuvered in the first round, I'm not good enough to be in there, and that is okay. I'm not here to make up the numbers. I'm here to win, and if I'm not winning, and I fight like that, I don't deserve to wear the gloves in my opinion. This is the best of the best in the world, and it doesn't matter what I've done in my past and where I've taken this sport. You don't live off your past performances. You live off your current ones, and I'm not good enough right now. Didn't touch the world title here, but got one in Cage Warriors though. I was still a world champion. I'm just proud." Paddy Pimblett paid tribute to Molly McCann following her retirement from MMA. Paddy posted this to his Instagram. He wrote, "Heartbreaking night last night watching my big sister retire. Been there with her from the start and will always be there. This may be the end of her fighting career, but it's far from the end of mine and her relationship. That's till death do us part. UK MMA women's legend, first English woman to get a win in the UFC, and has to be one of the best knockouts in women's UFC and combat sports history. Her legacy will live on forever. Emotional isn't even the word for last night, but even when I was crying, the meatball will never fail to make me laugh when she said, 'Haven't done bad for a lesbo who was working in Subway, have I? Love you, Molly, and always will be me big sis.'" Robert Whittaker addresses the narrative that Leon Edwards is washed following his loss to Sean Brady over the weekend. On the latest episode of the MMRcade podcast, Rob says he believes that Sean Brady was an extremely difficult matchup for Leon, and adds that Bilal Muhammad effectively laid the blueprint for defeating him.
As we said in our predictions, we came into it thinking, which Edwards are we going to see? And within about 30 seconds, I was like, this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's it. Like it's got to the point, like I don't like all the fans that was like, now you see a post there like Edwards is now officially washed. Nah, dude, he's fighting the best in the world for one. So have some respect. But let's also look at Leon Edwards to Sean Brady is a match made in heaven. Like,
for sure.
Like if you could draw up a character that you want to fight that is as like in your advantage stylistically, I think that's the fight to make. Like, exactly what he said. Like Bilal really highlighted the blueprint to beating Leon Edwards. And but in saying that, so many people have done that before as well, giving him a hard time by pushing into his space and making him uncomfortable. Okay, it's Sean Brady did to a ticket. He was closing that space. He was walking him down. He was throwing unorthodox punches and bunches. He was mixing and clinching. And then once he started establishing takedowns, and so once the threat of the open mat takedown was there, he took him down the first time he shot, really. So he just controlled that fight. He controlled that fight so well.
Michael Venom Page is interested in fighting either Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman next. MVP is currently coming off a unanimous decision win over Shara Bullet this past February. During a fan Q&A, he went on to say, "I don't know if that last fight worried a few people, but everyone seems a bit silent. There's many names out there. I think me and Usman would be a good fight. I want to punch Colby in his face for some reason. I don't know why. There's guys that are out there. I'm just waiting for them to respond to the call. I'm hoping for a repeat of a jumping knee to the face. You all seen how that went, so I'm hoping that way. I'm hoping for 2 more big fights this year. If I get to punch Colby in the face, and then somebody else that's ranked in the top 10, top 5, then that's a good year." Rashad Evans reflects on his fight with Jon Jones, calling it a valuable learning experience. The two faced off in 2012 with Jones securing a unanimous decision victory. Leading up to the bout, tensions were high due to their history as friends and former training partners. Rashad had parted ways with his longtime coach Greg Jackson before the fight, which left him feeling a sense of betrayal. Looking back, Rashad admits that fighting with emotions played a significant role in his defeat. Go check out Rashad's full appearance on the Overdogs podcast this week. Links in the description.
That one right there, I would say, was probably one of the biggest learning lessons for me, because going into that fight, there was so much, it was so much emotion going into that fight. You know, I was with Greg Jackson, and there was a sense of betrayal with the whole thing with them. Now back in John and, you know, Greg and Mike Winklejohn, and I had to leave my New Mexican family. So it was me having to give the same sound bites over and over again. And we did this for months. We did a lot of face-to-face where it got personal, and it got to the point where that personal aspect of it, it drained me. Like I just wanted it to be done and over with, because it wasn't for a soundbite. It was something that was truly something that hurt me. And it was during a time in my life where my life was just in disarray. You know, I was going through a divorce, and I was going through so many transitions in my life. And then on top of it, this team that I felt was like a band of brothers who we all came together, I was disconnected from. So it was a very hard thing for me in that respect. And, you know, during the fight, it was a hard fight as well because I wasn't able to divorce myself from the emotion. Like I was finding myself, you know, almost having like a temper tantrum in the fight and really just like feeling some kind of way that I never felt going into a fight. Like usually in a fight, when a fight happened and the blows start going, you know, you kind of wake up on another level. But for me, there was moments where I was just kind of like, you know what, man, like I was just down on myself like I'd never been before in a fight. Even if I feel like I'm losing, I've never been mentally down on myself during a fight. But I felt like the reason why I was so down on myself was, you know, the emotional aspect of it too. You know, I can hear them calling things out to him in the corner, and I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? It was just, it was a hard fight for me, but it was one that I learned a lot from. I learned a lot about being able to be a consummate professional when it comes to fighting and being able to find a way to disconnect and divorce yourself from the emotions that you need to in order to get the job done. And most importantly, to not take things so personal. You know, like it's not like far as, you know, get myself amped for the fight. Yeah, I can get myself personal and get revved up off of it. But when it comes to stepping in the cage and fighting, it's not about being personal, it's about execution.
Joe Rogan does not believe the UFC will give Ilia Topuria an immediate title shot in the lightweight division. On the most recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe said, "I don't think that's happening. I wonder what they're going to do with Topuria. I like Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Oliveira is so tall, so dangerous everywhere. Huge reach advantage. Those lightweights are real big. Islam's huge." Ilia Topuria did an interview with Men's Health and has already declared himself the lightweight champion. Ilia said, "I am the lightweight world champion. I'm clear about it. Otherwise, I won't change weight. I won't sign up for a competition without knowing if I'm going to win or not. No one is at my level." Last week, Tom Aspinall announced that he had a meeting scheduled with Dana White and Hunter Campbell to explore potential opponents beyond Jon Jones. Today, during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Aspinall shared that following the meeting, he feels optimistic about his future. Tom said, "I'm feeling like we're in a good spot right now. First and foremost, I like fighting people. That's what I like to do. If I'm not doing that, I feel a little bit, that's what I like to do. That's the most important thing for me. And I've not been doing that over the last 7 months. After the meeting, I'm feeling very optimistic about things. I'm in a really good spot with everything in my future moving forward. It's really exciting times. The break, it's not a massive break to be honest. People are saying, oh, Jon Jones is holding up your career. It's only been 7 months. Not too bad. I don't want to say too much, but exciting stuff in the future for sure." And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to the footage of Jon Jones and Mike Perry on stage, with fans chanting "F Tom Aspinall." The first one says, "Oh no, Jon is mad. Someone check on his wife." The second one's from iMash Man. It says, "At this point, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is like a group project, where one guy keeps showing up late with excuses, and the other just brought a duck to the presentation out of pure frustration." And the final one's from Duck Headless. It says, "The fans were chanting, 'Duck Tom Aspinall.'" Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.